Geoverse Part 5 Prisoner of Love by GeodesicDragon Chapter 5 Praesidio Cor Noctis. Luna paced nervously around her chambers, replaying her recent conversation with Geo in her head. "I am a princess, and if I want to have a relationship, then by Tartarus I will have one." Those words stuck out the most. They were her words, and she wasn't prepared to go back on them. The Lunar Princess's train of thought was promptly derailed upon hearing the knock on her door. It was a slow, dull knock, as if the pony knocking really didn't want to. Putting her expression as neutral as she could, Luna spoke. "Enter." The door opened slowly, and an Earth Pony stallion adorned with the armor of the Night Guard entered, avoiding eye contact. "Thank you for coming at such short notice, Duskwind," she said. "Though I would appreciate it if you looked at me while I am talking to you." The stallion, known as Duskwind, slowly looked up. His eyes were full of fear, and his face showed that he'd been crying profusely. Princess Luna, he began, only to be silenced with a raised hoof. "I will be doing the talking here, Dusk," she said. "Sit down and listen carefully to what I have to say. I assume you know what I wish to talk to you about?" Dusk nodded, his ears flattening against his head. "The kiss," he said painfully, wincing at the memory. "Yes," Luna replied, "the kiss." She exhaled sharply and began walking around the room, circling the nervous Duskwind as a shark would circle its prey. "I'm going to ask you some questions," she said, "and I expect nothing but honesty in your answers. Understood?" "Yes, Princess Luna," Dusk replied. "Call me Luna." Dusk's ears perked up as she spoke those words, and a smile began working its way onto his face before he quickly changed it to a nervous frown. "As you command, Luna," he said. Luna smiled and took another deep breath. "Okay," she said. "First question. Do you harbor feelings of a romantic nature towards me?" Dusk swallowed a lump in his throat. "Yes," he said nervously, "I do." "Why?" The question was short and to the point. Dusk fidgeted with his mane while his mind tried frantically to come up with the answer. "Because," he trailed off. Luna looked at him expectantly, an eyebrow raised in question. "Because?" she said, trying to persuade him to continue. Dusk sighed. "Because you are a strong, independent, beautiful mare," he said. "You have been through a lot, and yet you don't let it get to you." Luna stopped walking. "No pony has ever said anything like that to me before," she said, pausing for a moment. "And you honestly feel this way about me?" "More than any pony else I've ever met," Dusk replied, his fear and nervousness slowly being replaced by confidence. "So," Luna continued, "tell me what led you to kiss me that night?" As quickly as it had left, Dusk's sense of fear had returned. He swallowed hard and began panting heavily. "All I want is an explanation," Luna said. "Is that too much to ask?" Dusk shook his head. Taking a few deep breaths, he told Luna the events leading up to the kiss all those nights ago. Duskwind stood ever vigilant at his post, his eyes darting back and forth on the lookout for any threats to Princess Luna. Nothing was stirring, nothing, that is, but his emotions. "Duskwind?" The stallion in question turned on the spot to see Princess Luna herself approaching him. He quickly stood to attention and bowed, thankful that she couldn't hear his heart beating in his throat. "Princess Luna," he said, "what brings you here?" "Boredom," Luna replied bluntly. Dusk chuckled. "And if you don't mind me asking," he said, "were you planning to accomplish out here on the battlements?" Luna shrugged. "I was hoping to find some pony to talk to," she said, "and it would appear that my hopes weren't dashed." "I'm sorry to say, Your Highness," Dusk said solemnly, "that I won't be here for long. I'm being relieved shortly." Luna nodded. "And why should that stop you talking to me?" she asked. Dusk smiled. "You have a point, Your Highness," he said. "What would you like to talk about?" Luna looked out over the battlements and down into Canterlot. The city slept soundly, and the glow of her moon made her coat shimmer. After a moment she turned her eyes towards Dusk. "You're one of my bodyguards," she said. "Yet I know so little about you, so please tell me about yourself." Dusk's expression changed to one of disbelief. "She's really asking me that?" "There's not much to tell, Your Highness," he said. "I grew up in an orphanage after my parents died, and I joined the Lunar Guard as soon as I was old enough." "So many ponies choose to join the Solar Guard," said Luna. "So why did you decide to join my guards instead?" "Because I have nothing but the utmost respect for you," Dusk replied. "That, and you are a princess just as much as your sister." Luna smiled a little. "Why do you respect me, Duskwind?" she asked. "When I was in the orphanage," he explained, "I used to sit up at night and try to count the stars. Most of the other foals were afraid of the dark, but not me." "You admire my knight?" Luna said. "Indeed I do, Your Highness," Dusk replied. "Your night was a thing of beauty. I used to imagine that I was up there with you, watching as you raised the moon and aligned the stars. It's what helped me get through the 7 years I spent in the orphanage." While he had been talking, Luna had taken a few steps towards him. Their muzzles were just inches apart. "Tell me, Duskwind," Luna said, "is there anything else you admire about me, besides my knight?" Dusk could no longer control himself. Lunging forward, he planted a kiss on Luna's lips. With a muffled gasp, Luna backed away. "Duskwind!" she said sharply. Dusk's ears flattened as he realized what he had just done. "Oh, no," he said. "Princess, I'm sorry. I had a few drinks before starting my shift. I guess they only just started affecting me." "But—" Luna started, but was cut off by the sound of hoofbeats. "Hey, Dusk," a Pegasus mare said. "You are really— Princess?" The mare bowed to Luna, who simply nodded. "Starstorm!" Dusk yelled. "Good you're here. You can talk to the princess while I, go get some sleep." He took off down the battlements. "See you later," he called over his shoulder. Yeah," Starstorm called back. "See you later." She shrugged. "That stallion," she muttered. "Always acting weird. So, Your Highness, it looks like it's just you and me." Luna did not reply. Looking around, Starstorm saw that the Lunar Princess was gone. Shrugging, she took up her position, unaware of the awkwardness still lingering in the air. "And that's the story, Your Highness," Dusk said with a sigh. "Once again, I am extremely sorry for my behavior. As I said, I had a few drinks before starting my
"I know you didn't have any drinks," Luna interrupted, "because I didn't smell anything on your breath." She paused. "Nor did I taste anything when you decided to stick your tongue down my throat." Dusk flinched. "Well," he said, "I'm sorry. I'm sure you want to punish me, so please, go right ahead. I deserve it."
Luna walked up to him, her eyes fixed upon his.
"I will decide what to do with you," she said, "once you tell me exactly how you feel about me."
"But," Dusk spluttered, "I just did."
"Yes," Luna replied, "but I want to hear the short version."
"The short version?" he said.
Luna nodded.
Dusk looked into Luna's eyes. As he did so, his demeanor changed. He stopped panicking and stood up. "The short version," he said gruffly, "is that I love you, Princess."
Luna smiled. "That's all I needed to hear," she said.
Dusk returned the smile. "So," he said, "what happens next?"
The answer came in the form of a dark blue blur as it launched itself at him, pinning him to the ground. Before he could protest, he felt the soft touch of Luna's lips against his. And suddenly nothing else mattered anymore.